Good afternoon, everyone. The informal meeting of the Richmond City Council will now come to order. And Madam Clerk, if you would proceed with the emergency evacuation announcement, followed by the roll call and docket review.
Starting with, I'm sorry. Upon activation of the emergency alarm signal, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exits to the front or left, right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairwell outside. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed down 9th Street and enter the assembly area located in the former public safety building parking lot. Able persons should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. And Madam President, for the record, all members are in attendance this evening with the exception of Councilor Breton and Councilor Lynch. You do have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's proceed with the docket review.
Starting with the consent agenda, item number 1, ordinance 2025-025. This paper is to be amended and then continued to the July 28th council meeting. Item 2, ordinance 2025-046. This paper is also to be amended later this evening and then continue to the June 23rd council meeting. Item 3, ordinance 2025-052, Planning Commission recommended a continuance, so this item is to be continued to the September 22nd council meeting. Item 4, ordinance 2025-079, Planning Commission recommended a continuance, so this item is to be continued until the June 23rd council meeting. Item 5, ordinance 2025-080, Planning Commission recommended approval. This paper was continued from the May 12th council meeting, and I believe there is a recommendation that this item be continued to the June 23rd council meeting.
That's correct, Madam Clerk.
So item number 5, ordinance number 2025-080 is to be continued to the June 23rd council meeting. Item 6, ordinance 2025-081, Planning Commission recommended a continuance, so this item is to be continued until June 23rd as well. Item 7, ordinance 2025-112, Planning Commission recommended approval. Item 8, ordinance 2025-113, Planning Commission recommended a continuance, so this item is to be continued to the June 23rd council meeting. Items 9 through 14, ordinance 2025-114, 115, 116, 117, 118, and 119, Planning Commission recommended approval. Item 15, ordinance 2025-120, Planning Commission recommended a continuance, so this item is to be continued to the June 23rd council meeting. Item 16, resolution 2025-R020, this paper is to be continued to the July 28th council meeting due to the cancellation of the June Organizational Development Standing Committee meeting. On the regular agenda, we have item 17, ordinance 2024-187. This paper is to be continued to the July 28th council meeting. And item 18, resolution 2024-R041. This paper is to be amended later this evening and then considered.
Madam Chair.
Madam Clerk, Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I received the proposed amendments to the paper Friday afternoon, and I forwarded some comments back to the staff in relationship to this. I am asking, and I have not, unfortunately, today I haven't had a chance to touch base with Ms. Lynch, who's the lead patron on this paper. The staff has prepared some amendments taking out the specific addresses. I have a little bit more concern, and when I asked for the paper to be continued, I was surprised that that was a 5-day period of time. I really thought we had a little bit more time to talk about the details of the amendment. And I'm sorry I haven't had an opportunity to talk with Ms. Lynch. I know that she's expressed an interest in speaking with me, and likewise I am with her as well. Not in opposition to the paper. I'm a patron of the paper, but I do think that there's some other factual information that would really help us strengthen this to accomplish exactly what we're trying to achieve. And so I'm asking, with the support of the patrons, that we continue this paper until I hope it's safe to say the next council meeting will not be before June the 23rd and not 5 days later. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. You will have conversation with the prime patron, is that correct? Relative to that recommendation also?
I will attempt to do that, Madam
Okay.
Chair, but I am requesting that the paper be.
No, I hear you. I'm just asking that you would also have that follow-up conversation. Thank you.
And so, Councilor Robertson, for clarification, you do want the paper to be amended, but just continue to the June 23rd meeting, or would you prefer that the paper just be continued and not amended?
I prefer that the paper be continued because there's some additional language for the amendment. However, what is currently before us, I would like to see it amended a little bit more. So yes, I'd like for the paper just to be continued.
Okay, so item number 18, resolution 2024 R08041 will just be continued to the June 23rd council meeting. And Madam President, that concludes the docket.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And Councilmember Robertson has indicated she'll confer with the key patron relative to that item as well for an update.
All right, so
Okay.
next. Okay, so next up, is that the end of docket? Any more discussion?
That's correct. We're at the end of docket.
Okay, so the next item up will be the code refresh update.
Welcome, Ms. Pitts.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Mary Ann Pitts, Deputy Director with the Planning Department. I'm here today to briefly update you on the Code Refresh Project, which is our city-wide update to our zoning ordinance. The project began in February 2024, which it looks like, if you look at this slide, that we're right at the end of the project, but we're really just getting into the heart of working on the draft ordinance and working on the draft map. The past year, we've been working on a lot of the background material, including a pattern book, which establishes looking at the city, comparing what's on the ground to what's in the existing ordinance, and seeing where there's lots of inconsistencies where that has occurred throughout the city, looking at a frame for the zoning ordinance, how it connects with the master plan. And now we're right at the phase where we're looking at the draft ordinance and what language should be in that document with the zoning districts and also a draft map. So this process that we're currently in, we're going through it in 3 modules. The first module is we're looking at the districts, the uses, and a draft map. So these are documents that are online on our website, currently in a draft form, that our Zoning Advisory Council has been taking time going through and looking at those and seeing how they connect with Richmond 300 and the goals of the city. The next module we'll be looking at is development standards. These are standards that will be used citywide. So whether landscaping, buffering, transitions, vehicle access requirements, that'll be the next one to be rolled out, likely with community meetings in October, November timeframe. Will also be the third module, will be a part of that conversation section as well. Those are administrative provisions. So how you apply for different types of requirements and how you get around certain types of requirements as well will be a part of that third module. So the future land use map is what you see on the left of the screen. It's been used to inform what the draft zoning map is. There's 10 broad categories that came as a part of the future land use map, and the zoning will have many more to implement those, so several more per each category. So there's a draft zoning map that's currently available online that our Zoning Advisory Council is taking a look at right now and reviewing currently, and they'll be having a meeting this Wednesday to talk a little bit more about their recommendations on that draft map. So the engagement efforts that we've done so far, we've had 2 series of open houses. One just basically introducing the project, getting people's thoughts about what we need to include as a part of the zoning ordinance. The second round of open houses focused more on what these draft districts are and what they can be. And we're about to kick off with another round of open houses. In addition to open houses, we've been having pop-ups at different locations throughout the city, roundtables, discussions with stakeholder groups, panel discussions to inform people of important topics relating to zoning. And we have community ambassadors that are helping us reach different people who typically don't participate in our processes. Most recently, we went to the Boys and Girls Club to talk to some youth about zoning. In addition to these in-person opportunities, we also have online engagement that's occurring simultaneously. You'll see it's not a ton of people, but right now we have the maps that are about to come out. So I think it's something more tangible that people can relate to and understand better than just like these are potential districts. So we're hoping to engage a lot of people around these maps as we're moving forward. In addition to those, staff has been going to a lot of civic association meetings, district meetings, different opportunities for us to have this conversation. I'm going to be reaching out to all the civic associations, asking them if they want us to be a part or attend a meeting. Again, having the maps as something that people could actually be like, what is the potential zoning for my district? I think it'd be easier for us to engage with people, something that people can understand better. We're going to be doing some engagement effort at the end of this month around the draft maps, draft districts, and the draft use tables. That includes 3 open houses and 1 panel discussion. The panel discussion is going to be relating transportation to zoning and having conversations with people who are experts in those fields. And then we're having an open house Wednesday, the 25th, 4 to 7 p.m. at Southside Community Center. One on Thursday, the 26th in the morning here at City Hall from 9 to 12. And then one on Thursday, the 26th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the main library. These are all have the same content at the open houses, and you can stop by at any time to join, to talk with staff and provide your comments. We're also working to get an equivalent version of the open houses online so people can engage with it if they can't attend in person. So this was just a brief update to tell you where we are in the process. There's more information at rva.gov/code refresh. My email is available and my phone number if anyone has questions, if people want us to come to any meetings or their suggested meetings. It's a lot of information. Councilperson Robertson and I spent a lot of time on Friday going through. So if you want to sit down and go through some of the districts, she has volunteered to be on our zoning advisory council. So taking a lot of work on. So we're working together to make sure she has an understanding, but we're available to any of the council members that like to sit down and dive deep. Again, the draft map that's online now will be modified based on the Zoning Advisory Council's comments that we're talking about this week. And there'll be a version online at the end of the month where the public can put some input into what they think is the correct zoning districts. So any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Pitts. Just a few questions. Councilmember Gibson.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Pitts, who attended our district meeting most recently. I wanted to appreciate, the folks really appreciated having you there. It was a really great discussion. And I think they also were really thankful to hear that this was very much a work in progress. One of the areas that has been of considerable concern for folks was the possibility of raising the building height on MacArthur Avenue to 6 stories. And so seeing the revised draft that had that reduced down to 3, I think felt like a win for a lot of residents. And so, I think that ongoing collaboration is really important to do. And I appreciate all that you've done. one of the things that I do want to continue to highlight as we are going through this process is the importance of looking both at this map concurrently with having discussions about historic preservation. And I know that some of those conversations have happened, but my understanding is that that perhaps it's somewhat stalled. And so
Sure. I can provide some insight on that. So the Cultural Heritage Stewardship Plan has been continued at Planning Commission, and there's a subcommittee that's going to take a little deeper dive into that document. There's some aspects of it that Richmond 300 supports. There are things that we can currently look at as well, even though the plan has not been adopted. There's one portion that we're looking at in terms of design and demolition. Something that we want to consider as a part of this process is when we get around later this fall, we're going to start talking to communities about whether they want something that I know you all are familiar with the Commission of Architectural Review and the requirements that if you're in an old and historic district, a local one required, but something lighter than that, that might just be for new construction or in concerns with demolition. So we're going to start having those conversations as a part of the zoning rewrite later this fall. So taking some of those.
wonderful. And then the final thing that I think would provide folks with a lot of reassurance is to also talk about infrastructure. You know, and we all understand and appreciate that the city will become more dense. But given all of the concerns that we are having as a city right now, I think it would provide a lot of assurance to have a real roadmap in terms of ensuring that as we are making changes to allow more density, that we are making the necessary investments and commitments to infrastructure to ensure that we can support the additional density that these changes may or would likely allow. So thank you again for the information and those updates.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pitts, just a quick question. We do have the opportunity to outreach to you to schedule additional open house discussions in districts? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll definitely be available. Our consultant team is in town for that period of time, and that's why we kind of squeezed everything together during that time. But staff has been knows what's going on as well. So we're available to replicate the open house if that's what somebody wants, or just have a different style of meeting that we can have with a group or with your whole district.
Thank you. Thank you for the overview, and I suspect we'll follow up with you with questions and additional clarification. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Madam President, I have a motion that I would like to read.
Thank you.
I move that the City Council go into a closed meeting pursuant to subdivision A3 and A29 of Section 2.2-3711 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act to discuss 1, the disposition of publicly held real property for the purpose of the city center development project, and 2, the award of a contract or contracts involving the expenditure of public funds relating to such city center development project in the terms and scope of such contract or contracts, because discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the city.
Ms. Gibson, will you second that motion?
Second.
Council is now voting on the motion to enter into a closed meeting. Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Robertson? Ms. Lynch? Ms. Trammell? Ms. Abelbacher?
Aye.
Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
And President Newbill?
Aye.
That motion has been approved, and a closed session will be held in the second floor large conference room.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Members, if we would move to that location. Thank you. Madam Clerk, are you going to shepherd us?
Yes, we're ready. If Ms. Gibson, if you would make the motion to exit the closed meeting and enter into open session.
I move that we have exited, what did I say? Okay.
That's what you
Exited the
said.
close, oh, here we go. Oh, that's
Eh,
not it. Okay.
No.
I move
no.
that we've exited the closed and we are opening into open session.
Second.
Council is now voting on the motion to enter into open session. Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell, Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan,
Aye.
and President Newbill.
Aye.
The council hereby certifies to the best of each member's knowledge only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in a closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by council. Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell, Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan,
Aye.
and President Newbill.
Aye.
Thank you. And Madam President, for the record, there's no other items on this evening's agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The informal session of the Richmond City Council now stands adjourned.